Welcome to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram's Immigration Podcast. Today, we are excited to present part 2 of our 4-part series on the O-1B visa. The O-1B visa is for senior professionals who work in the entertainment industry, so let's dive in. Before we get started, we'd like to thank attorney Chris M. Ingram and his team who have worked very hard in researching and preparing the material for this podcast. So let's get started. Okay, so our mission with this deep dive, really, for you, our listener, is to help you navigate what can be, let's face it, a complex path, the O-1B visa. And specifically today, we're zeroing in on 2 more really crucial qualification categories. We're going to build on the insights from our legal team, helping you understand how extraordinary ability in arts and entertainment isn't just, about raw talent. It's also very much about strategic impact and, importantly, documented success.
That's absolutely right. This deep dive, it really is a direct continuation of our journey from part 1. We're trying to get into the real granular detail of demonstrating extraordinary ability in the arts, right, or significant achievement in film and TV for the O-1B. Attorney Chris M. Ingram's extensive legal research, it doesn't just give you a list of criteria, it provides a foundational framework, really, for putting together a comprehensive and compelling O-1B case. These categories we're talking about, they aren't just simple checkboxes you tick off. No, they're critical pieces of a mosaic, you could say. Each one adds depth and dimension to the overall picture of an applicant's distinction and their undeniable value in their field.
Setting the stage recap and what's ahead.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Before we really jump into today's categories, and I promise they are fascinating, let's just quickly recap part 1. For anyone who might have missed it or maybe just needs a little refresher, in our last deep dive, we introduced the O-1B visa's core ideas, its essential focus on extraordinary ability in the arts, or that substantial achievement in motion picture and television. We looked into what distinction and acclaim actually mean, in the eyes of immigration law, and how this visa, interestingly, has unique advantages, not just for really seasoned professionals, but also, kind of surprisingly, for recent grads too. And then we took a really detailed look at the first 2 qualification categories. First, showing you were a lead participant in, like, distinguished productions or events. And second, proving you've achieved national or maybe international recognition through reviews, in major publications or those specialized trade journals, showing how that critical reception really helps solidify your standing.
That's right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, those initial categories, they really set a crucial foundation. They gave us that baseline understanding of what USCIS considers extraordinary. They established sort of the recognition of broad public impact and critical reception. Today, we're not just adding new points to a list. We're building a more robust, a more nuanced framework. Our attorneys, they've meticulously prepared this legal research. And it's going to shed light on how your specific role within a distinguished organization and also your measurable successes, commercial or critical, how those can act as powerful, really undeniable indicators of extraordinary talent. It's about moving beyond just, being recognized generally to explicitly showing where you're making an essential, maybe even irreplaceable impact, and crucially, what the concrete, quantifiable results of that impact actually are.
So what does this all really mean for someone who's, trying to navigate this complex, often quite opaque immigration process? We're about to explore the next 2 categories, and this is where I think it gets really interesting, because they push us into how your impact isn't just perceived by your peers, but how it's formally recognized within top-tier organizations, and how your commercial or critical successes are, objectively quantified. It's about demonstrating not just your skill, but your strategic place within the industry, and maybe most importantly, the tangible, measurable results of your work. These categories, they often provide some of the most compelling, often undeniable evidence for an O-1B application, because they speak directly to the demand for your talent, your influence on major projects, and, your market value in the entertainment world.
Category 3, performing a lead, starring, or critical role for organizations with a distinguished reputation.
Okay, category 3. This one really flips the script, doesn't it? It moves away from just focusing on your individual output or, say, the reviews of your work. Instead, it puts a heavy emphasis on the prestige, the reputation of the organization you're connected with, and crucially, combines that with the absolutely pivotal nature of your role within that organization. It's really about being in demand by the elites, the top players in your industry. It's a clear signal that your talent is sought after at the highest levels, just as our legal team highlights. It's key to understand, though, it's not enough to just say, I work for a famous company. No, you have to show you were in a position where your contribution was demonstrably indispensable to that organization's esteemed work or output. This shows a unique kind of recognition, one that resonates deeply within the industry's top tiers.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is that dual emphasis, like you said. It's not just what you do as an artist, but critically where you do it and how absolutely vital your contribution is to that distinguished entity. Attorney Chris M. Ingram's research really underscores this. This isn't about being, a minor cog in some big, well-oiled machine. No, it's about being an absolutely essential, maybe even irreplaceable part of a highly respected, distinguished machine. Your role has to be such that the project's success or the organization's distinguished output would be significantly less, maybe even impossible, without your direct, high-level, and unique involvement. This demands more than just being a skilled professional. It really requires being a linchpin, a key player.
That makes perfect sense. So let's unpack that term, distinguished reputation. What does that actually mean for an organization? How do our researchers define it and, more importantly, evidence it? Because let's be honest, distinguished can feel a bit subjective, right? A little open to interpretation. How do we move past just a feeling and get to concrete proof?
That's a great and crucial point, and our legal team's study, it provides very clear, objective ways to demonstrate this. The reputation of an organization, it can be proven through various tangible indicators. This includes, first off, a longstanding history of excellence and, consistent high-quality output in its field. We're talking about organizations that have lasted and consistently performed at the very top. Secondly, numerous prestigious awards it's received in its specific area are critical evidence. Think about production companies that consistently win major awards like Oscars, Emmys, Tonys, year after year. Thirdly, its affiliations with other highly prestigious entities or events can be extremely powerful. For example, film production companies or studios that are consistently prominently associated with major top-tier international events. Like Cannes, Venice, Berlin film festivals, their repeated presence there, the critical buzz they generate, their consistent awards, it all speaks volumes about their distinguished reputation. It's about a consistent, verifiable track record of high-quality output and recognition in the industry that goes beyond just one successful project.
Okay, that's much clearer. So it's not just about a big recognizable name, but a name that carries real, verifiable weight through established acclaim and a consistent history of top performance. Makes sense. But then there's the other part, the lead, starring, or critical role aspect. Can you elaborate on how someone, a professional, or maybe even a recent graduate, proves their role was truly indispensable? Not just, one of many important positions. Because lots of roles on a big project are important, sure, but critical implies something much higher. A more specific standard. How do we distinguish that?
Right. That's an important question, as you said, and it's a common point where people get confused. The legal research makes it abundantly clear that critical doesn't always mean being the face on camera or the performer on stage. Roles can absolutely be behind the scenes if they are fundamentally critical to shaping a project's vision, its artistic direction, the narrative, or its overall success. For instance, think about a top-tier film editor. Their unique artistic vision and technical skill might fundamentally define the pacing, the rhythm, the whole emotional impact of a film, making it instantly recognizable, maybe even setting a new standard. Their work isn't just cutting footage together, it's about making irreplaceable artistic choices that affect the entire final product and how it's received. Or imagine a lead sound designer whose complex work creates this immersive audio world that's absolutely integral to the story and the critical acclaim of, say, a video game. It's about demonstrating the profound, undeniable impact you have on the distinguished output of that organization and showing how that specific contribution couldn't have been replicated by someone else without a significant loss to the project's integrity or success.
That's incredibly specific and really helpful. It's not just, I worked at Netflix. It's more like I directed a critically acclaimed series for Netflix, and my creative vision was absolutely central to its success. Okay, so let's get into the real nitty-gritty examples now. The types of evidence our legal team identifies for both seasoned professionals and emerging talent, because the evidence often looks quite different for each group, doesn't it? What are the specific ways someone proves this level of influence?
Absolutely. And the evidence, it needs to be meticulously tailored to the applicant's specific career stage, naturally, while still meeting that high bar of criticality and distinction. So for seasoned professionals, the examples are typically, grander in scale and impact, reflecting years of high-level contribution. We're talking about starring or leading roles for major, globally recognized studios. Think Warner Bros., Universal, Paramount, where your name itself carries significant weight, draws audiences, gets critical attention, or performing critical, maybe even groundbreaking design work for prestigious cultural institutions, like being the lead exhibition designer for a huge show at MoMA or the Guggenheim, where your artistic vision shapes the whole experience and the institution's profile. Directing those highly anticipated, critically acclaimed series or films for the streaming giants Netflix, HBO, Amazon Prime, where your leadership directly impacts global viewership, cultural chat, critical reviews, and often wins industry awards. Leading performances for world-renowned opera companies, the Met in New York, La Scala in Milan, the Royal Opera House in London. Places where your talent is central to the production success, sells out houses, boosts international reputation. Even engaging in critical dubbing or voice acting work for prominent anime studios like Funimation, Crunchyroll, or major video game studios. And the nuance here is key. It's not just doing voices. It's where cultural accuracy, character development through voice, faithful adaptation of complex stories are paramount to the success and authenticity of the final product.
Rome, 20,000 spectators, one epic battle, two warriors, one destiny. But before they can fight for glory, they must face the real challenge, getting their visa approved.
If you want to enter, show me your visa.
They should have went to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram. They are very good.
Yes, I've heard the same. They handled my visa in no time.
Off to the Lions pit.
Come with me, boys. It's dinner time.
Because even legends need the offices of Chris M. Ingram.
Are you looking for a visa? Why don't you get your free consultation on the Breakthrough website? We're with you every step of the way.
Our attorneys highlight that showing a clear upward career path, ending in these lead or essential roles, is really key. And furthermore, a really powerful piece of evidence can be highlighting contract clauses, specifically negotiated clauses for credit visibility, maybe demanding a certain title card, prominent billing, a unique producer credit. This isn't just about what they did, it shows how much their presence was valued by these distinguished places, enough to be formally recognized and put in writing. It speaks volumes about indispensability.
Wow, okay, that's all for the seasoned pros. But what about for recent graduates and emerging talent? It must be significantly tougher for them to show that level of distinguished involvement with major players right after graduating, right? Especially if they don't have a long list of huge credits yet. How do they tackle this category?
It is definitely a different kind of challenge, yes, but it's absolutely achievable. Our legal team's research shows this through various successful cases. For emerging talent, the focus kind of shifts. It shifts to early, compelling indicators of high potential and critical contribution. These contributions might be within environments that, okay, maybe aren't as globally massive as Warner Bros., but are still recognized for their excellence, their innovation, or maybe just their selectivity within their specific sphere. This could involve securing critical leading roles in university theater productions that really gained significant alumni acclaim, maybe attracted notable industry attention, or even got reviewed in local or specialized press beyond the campus. The key there is the impact and the recognition of the production itself, or playing lead roles in projects associated with reputable independent labels or production houses, where the label itself has a strong, even if it's niche, reputation for quality, artistic integrity, or innovation in the indie scene. Think of an indie music label known for launching acclaimed artists, or an indie film company whose films consistently show up at top indie festivals. Being the key producer, director, or lead creative for a short film or web series that picks up significant awards and buzz at respected film festivals or online platforms, this shows early leadership, undeniable impact on a recognized project, and the ability to create work that connects. Completing highly selective and prestigious internships at industry giants like Pixar, Disney Animation, Lucasfilm, or major record labels. Here, the emphasis isn't just on the internship, but on how selective these programs are, implying only truly exceptional talent gets chosen. And also, the specific critical contributions made during the internship, not just being there. Serving as an assistant director, lead animator, or head writer on a web series that develops a really significant cult following and widespread online engagement. This indicates early, demonstrable impact on content that really resonated with a dedicated audience, often shown through millions of views, shares, positive comments. Our study actually mentions a really compelling case. A recent graduate whose costume design for a touring play proved absolutely critical to its artistic and narrative success. This person's designs weren't just clothes. They fundamentally shaped the characters, enhanced the story's themes, and were specifically mentioned in reviews as being integral to the production's acclaimed reception. That demonstrates undeniable criticality, regardless of the applicant's short career. It's all about the irreplaceable nature of their contribution.
Yeah, that specific case really highlights the nuance, doesn't it? It's not about the budget or the sheer size of the production, but the impact and the irreplaceability of what you did. So beyond those examples, what kind of general proof and documentation should applicants be really diligently gathering to back this category up? What makes for truly compelling evidence here?
Right. To concretely prove this level of lead, starring, or critical role within a distinguished organization, the type of documentation our attorneys recommend is crucial. It has to be robust. Contracts and agreements are absolutely foundational. These documents should explicitly detail your roles, responsibilities, maybe any unique clauses about your importance, creative control, or prominent credit. The more specific they are, the better. Organizational charts. These can be incredibly powerful if they clearly illustrate your position and influence within a project team. They should show lines of authority, decision-making power, how your role directly impacted other departments or key outcomes. For instance, an org chart showing a lead animator supervising a team of, say, 50 people. Testimonials from industry leaders or respected colleagues, these are essential. They need to unequivocally confirm the pivotal and indispensable nature of your role. And they shouldn't just be generic character references. They need to talk about your specific contributions, detailing how your work was critical and why you were irreplaceable. And ideally, they should come from individuals with their own established reputations. And finally, detailed role descriptions. These need to go way beyond just generic job titles. They should highlight why you were indispensable, maybe the unique challenges or creative problems you solved. An example from our research is a description that specified, rewrote key scenes for cultural accuracy, fundamentally reshaping the narrative direction. That shows deep creative and intellectual involvement, not just execution. This level of detail is what differentiates a truly critical role from one that's just, important.
That's incredibly specific. It really shows how much meticulous detail and, frankly, strategic framing is needed. What about organizations that are distinguished but maybe within a niche field, like a prominent independent art gallery, rather than a huge film studio? Does that still count, or does it have to be globally recognized?
Absolutely, and this is an important distinction to make. Our legal team's research confirms that prestigious art galleries, think Guggenheim, Pace Gallery, White Cube, they serve as excellent examples within the art sector. The key is to demonstrate that the organization itself has a distinguished reputation within its specific field, even if that field is a niche market compared to, say, mainstream Hollywood. It doesn't have to be a universally recognized household name. As long as it's a leader or a highly respected entity within its particular artistic or entertainment domain, it definitely qualifies. The same criteria, awards, history, notable exhibitions, affiliations would apply to establishing their distinction within that niche.
Okay, fair enough. But what if you're involved with a startup or a newer organization that just hasn't had decades to build up a reputation and collect a long list of awards? Is it impossible to qualify into this category then? That seems like it could accidentally penalize innovators or people shaping the future of their field.
Not at all, no. And attorney Chris Ingram notes, this is a crucial area for strategic argument. For startups or emerging entities, the challenge lies in arguing and providing compelling evidence for their emerging reputation. While they might not have decades of history, they can still demonstrate prestige. This could involve showing significant early critical buzz in reputable industry publications, or maybe substantial initial funding rounds that indicate high investor confidence and market validation. Or, crucially, the involvement of other highly distinguished individuals who have lent their names, their expertise, or their investment to the new venture. For instance, if a new entertainment tech startup has a board of advisors filled with industry legends, that speaks volumes. It's about demonstrating the trajectory of their prestige and the high regard they're already held in by key figures in the industry, even if they are relatively new. It just requires a more forward-looking argument, supported by strong early indicators of future distinction.
Right. So given all that, what does this mean for linking your critical role directly to tangible success? How do you really validate that collaborative excellence where your individual contribution plays into a bigger, distinguished, successful project? How do you, draw that line clearly for USCIS?
Well, the legal research stresses the absolute paramount importance of tying your role directly to the impact it had on the project's success. It's not enough to just say you had a critical role in a distinguished organization. You must meticulously illustrate how your specific contribution drove that success. For example, if your innovative costume design directly led to a highly acclaimed and successful exhibition at a distinguished gallery, and critics specifically praised your design work as integral to the show's impact. Or if your pivotal production role resulted in a major box office hit for a studio, and industry articles specifically credit your leadership for key creative decisions that contributed to that success. This direct, verifiable link, it validates your irreplaceable artistic contribution, which attorney Chris M. Ingram stakes forms a foundational pillar for demonstrating distinction in the O-1B process. It moves from just showing your involvement to proving your essential, quantifiable, and positive influence on the ultimate distinguished outcome.
They said my EB1 needed more categories. I can't even dock. What am I gonna do?
I need to find the right lawyer that can navigate me through this crisis. I need my EB1 so my new life can begin. These lawyers are amazing. They are walking me through every questions, making sure I don't miss a thing.
Thanks to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram, I'm cleared to land. But my career is gonna take off.
Houston. He got his visa.
Need help with your visa? Book your free consultation now at www.breakthroughusa.com and let us take care of you.
Category 4 record of major commercial or critically acclaimed successes.
Okay, let's unpack this next one. Category 4, we just talked about where you've contributed, highlighting the prestige of the organizations and the critical nature of your role. Now, we're shifting gears. We're moving to what many consider the measurable heartbeat of an artist's career. The actual verifiable successes. This is where the commercial hits or the critical darlings really shine. They often provide that hard data that complements the more qualitative evidence we've discussed. This category is entirely about proving the tangible impact and the widespread appeal of your work, whether that's measured in dollars or in praise from critics and the public.
Right. What's fascinating here is how our legal research emphasizes concrete, tangible metrics. This category is all about quantifying your impact, whether that's through market value, financial performance, or through widespread, objective critical recognition. It moves beyond just reputation to concrete, verifiable achievements. It's about showing that your work doesn't just, exist or is merely good. It performs, it sells, it's widely consumed, or it's celebrated on a significant scale. That indicates a broad reach and undeniable influence within the industry. And frankly, it's often the hardest evidence to argue against because it's based on numbers.
So what kind of data are we talking about here exactly? What are the key indicators our researchers highlight for both commercial and critical success? Because for many artists, success can feel a bit, nebulous or subjective. But here for immigration purposes, we need irrefutable, hard proof.
You're absolutely right. And our attorneys detail a wide range of specific quantifiable indicators to support this category, with a strong emphasis on third-party verification. So for commercial success, you're definitely looking at hard numbers and demonstrable market performance, showing that your work generates significant revenue or audience engagement. This includes things like albums topping major, recognized charts, Billboard 200, Billboard Hot 100, or even genre-specific Billboard charts. This shows significant sales, popularity, broad consumption, substantial box office receipts. Our study gives clear examples, like a film you contributed to grossing, say, $50 million, domestically or internationally. That demonstrates widespread public attendance and significant financial success. Verified sales reports for art exhibitions or auctions, showing your unique works are selling at high prices and have real market value, from reputable galleries or auction houses, of course. High streaming numbers for music or video content across major platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, reflecting vast consumption by a global audience. We're talking millions, sometimes billions of streams for music, or significant view counts for video. Nielsen ratings for television shows where you held a critical role. These are industry standards for showing significant viewership and audience engagement across key demographics. Achieving industry milestones like platinum or multi-platinum records for music, signifying millions of units sold. Or gold-platinum certifications for video games. For recent graduates, even early metrics can count, like successful Kickstarter or Patreon funding campaigns that significantly beat their initial goals. This demonstrates early market demand and public interest in their independent work, validating commercial viability. A particularly interesting client example from our legal team's research even used verified podcast downloads and subscriber numbers for a voice acting role or a series they produced. It shows how adaptable this category is to new media, as long as the metrics are substantial and verifiable. Documented instances of consistently sold-out shows, for example, show sold out 100 nights across a major tour, indicates immense public demand for live performances. And a specific case mentioned in our study highlighted a graduate's independent web series that garnered 1 million views online. And this was directly linked to industry awards and significant fan engagement. That powerfully proved tangible commercial reach and audience appeal early on.
Wow, that's a huge and impressive range. From very traditional industry metrics to much newer digital ones, it really seems to cover the modern entertainment landscape. What about critically acclaimed success? How do you quantify something that feels more qualitative, like critical reception? This seems like it might be harder to nail down than sales figures.
It might seem that way, but there are objective ways. For critically acclaimed success, it's about demonstrating objective recognition and overwhelmingly positive reception from professional critics, industry peers, and the public. And crucially, all independently verified. This would include high scores on aggregate review sites. Think Rotten Tomatoes, especially getting that certified fresh rating, or Metacritic, or critical reviews on video game review aggregators. These platforms compile opinions from many reputable critics, giving an objective measure of critical consensus. Significant buzz and awards won at reputable film festivals like Sundance, SXSW, Tribeca for indie films, or even student film festivals that are known feeders for the industry. Winning awards at these places indicates early critical recognition within the industry itself. IMDb credits accompanied by strong user scores, typically looking at 7.5 or higher out of 10. This indicates not just professional involvement, but also widespread public appreciation and positive reception. Similarly, high scores on platforms like MyAnimalist for anime or Goodreads for published works. Extensive and consistently positive reporting on your achievements in established trade journals, specific to your industry variety. Hollywood Reporter, Billboard, Artforum, or major national newspapers like the New York Times, LA Times, Wall Street Journal, or other reputable independent publications. These articles need to specifically highlight your work and contributions positively. And of course, any prestigious awards directly tied to your projects, performances, or artistic contributions. Ranging from the major industry awards, Oscars, Emmys, Grammys, Tonys, to recognize artistic accolades like a Pulitzer, a Guggenheim Fellowship, or a MacArthur Genius Grant. Even just nominations for these major awards carry significant weight.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me, because it's so clear that demonstrating this kind of consistent impact and success requires tracking these things proactively, almost from day one of your career, right? It's not something you can just, scramble to pull together at the last minute when you decide to apply for the visa. How does our legal team advise someone to actually do that, especially now in the digital age, where data is everywhere but often scattered across so many different platforms?
Yeah, that's a really important question about strategy and, frankly, consistent long-term documentation. The research advises leveraging analytics tools for any digital work you produce, music, video, web series, whatever. You need to continuously track performance metrics, views, streams, downloads, engagement rates. For seasoned professionals, this data might be readily available through their major labels, distributors, or talent agencies. They usually track and provide these figures routinely. For recent graduates or those working independently, it means diligently using the data provided by the platforms where they release their work, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, indie film sites, even social media analytics, and maintaining meticulous, organized records themselves. The absolute key is to have verifiable third-party data to back up your claims, not just self-reported numbers. And yes, absolutely start creating a portfolio of these successes early in your career. Don't wait.
And does international success count towards these categories? Or is it primarily focused on the US market? Because so many artists now have a truly global reach right from the start, especially with digital distribution.
Oh, absolutely. International successes add very significant weight. Attorney Chris Ingram's research confirms this strongly. The O-1B visa is designed for extraordinary ability that has been recognized nationally or internationally. So, for example, if a foreign film you had a critical role in gets widespread critical acclaim and sees a successful U.S. release, that powerfully demonstrates broad cross-border influence and marketability. Similarly, music charting highly in multiple countries, or an art exhibition that tours globally that would be incredibly strong evidence. Global reach definitely strengthens your case. It shows your talent transcends borders and connects with diverse audiences worldwide.
Got it. Are there any common pitfalls or maybe challenges applicants face when they're trying to collect and present evidence for this specific category? It seems like it could be tempting sometimes to, inflate numbers or make grand claims that aren't quite verifiable.
Yes, definitely. Our legal team highlights several crucial points to avoid pitfalls that can seriously damage a case. The most significant one is the absolute importance of avoiding inflated claims and stressing the need to verify all successes with credible independent sources. The integrity and authenticity of the evidence are just paramount. USCIS adjudicators, they're highly skilled at spotting discrepancies and inconsistencies. Unverifiable claims can severely undermine your entire application. Now, for artists in very niche fields, it might indeed be a challenge to find coverage in major national outlets. In those cases, using specialist journals, reputable industry blogs, and highly regarded niche publications becomes even more crucial. You have to find the authoritative voices within that niche. This category, Category 4, as attorney Chris M. Ingram emphasizes, it often anchors the application with hard quantitative numbers. It powerfully complements the qualitative evidence from other categories like reviews or testimonials. It really illustrates that broad influence, the market value, the undeniable impact that defines extraordinary achievement in entertainment. It's about showing not just that you're talented, but that your work actually performs and resonates on a significant, measurable scale.
Connecting the dots and looking ahead.
So what does this all mean then when someone's putting together their comprehensive O-1B visa application? We've now covered 4 pretty crucial categories: demonstrating a lead role in distinguished productions, achieving national or international recognition through reviews, performing critical roles in distinguished organizations, and having that documented record of major commercial or critically acclaimed successes. How do these individual pieces fit together? Is it just about ticking off as many boxes as you can, or is there a more strategic way to combine them?
That's a great question. If we connect this back to the bigger picture, what our legal team's research consistently shows is that these categories, they aren't standalone, isolated things. No, they're designed to build on each other. They create a multifaceted, robust portrait of extraordinary ability. The O-1B visa process, it looks for a holistic demonstration of distinction and irreplaceable contribution. It's about showing a pattern, a consistent pattern of sustained excellence and recognition across different aspects of your career. Now, while you generally need to meet at least 3 of the 6 regulatory criteria, the truth is the more categories you can clearly demonstrate with strong, verifiable evidence, the stronger and more compelling your overall case becomes. It's about illustrating consistent, high-level impact, showing that your talent is recognized, that it's sought after by the top players in your field, and that your work achieves measurable, significant success. Think of it like painting a complete, compelling picture where each category adds another stroke of undeniable proof.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's like building a compelling story, a narrative of your entire career, with each category providing another crucial layer of proof that reinforces the others. It's not just about one big hit project or one glowing review. It's about a track record of consistently performing at an extraordinary level, recognized by both critics and the market. Okay, so that brings us to the next exciting part of our series. What's coming up next in our deep dive into the O-1B visa? What can our listeners look forward to in Part 3?
Right. As our researchers prepared for this whole comprehensive series, in Part 3, we're going to delve into the final 2 crucial categories, the ones that complete the full framework of the O-1B qualification criteria. We'll explore how you can demonstrate significant recognition from experts in your field, which goes beyond general reviews to the specific opinions of highly regarded peers, organizations, and established industry leaders, getting their stamp of approval, essentially. And perhaps most concretely, we'll examine how demonstrating a high salary or other substantial remuneration for your services can be a powerful, often irrefutable indicator of your extraordinary ability and your demand in the market. Money talks, as they say. Once we've covered those final 2 points, we'll then move into practical, real-world case studies, showing how these categories are actually applied and proven in successful O-1B applications. Provocative thought for the listener.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive today, here's something to think about. In an industry that is constantly, rapidly evolving, how can individuals, even those just starting out in their careers, how can they begin proactively documenting their successes and contributions? Not just for a potential O-1B visa down the road, but frankly, for their entire professional trajectory. What quantifiable or maybe qualitative metrics might they not even be thinking about yet? Perhaps specific social media engagement patterns that really demonstrate influence, or unique industry challenges they've solved with innovative approaches. Or maybe the unexpected impact of their work within niche communities, things that could prove absolutely vital later on. It's really never too early to start meticulously building that portfolio of distinction and demonstrable impact. Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope you gained a lot from this discussion. Please subscribe to or follow this channel, as it can significantly increase the reach of this podcast and help us help more people. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Leave us a comment if you can. Also follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Instagram, where we're growing rapidly thanks to our social media team. We would also like to thank attorney Chris Ingram and his dedicated team once again for researching and preparing this material for our presentation. If you, a friend, or a family member would like a free consultation, you can visit our website at www.breakthroughusa.com and schedule an appointment. We'd love to hear from you and help you if we can.